for the live streaming, of course.
Oh,
Did
you
it
know what?
tape over it?
They taped over it. So, hang on.
Okay, well, let's take it off and on.
Just a sec. Okay. It's okay. Okay. You're okay.
What's going to be noisy?
Pick up all the sound while it's on. So you can just turn it off. So
Oh, let's turn it off. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so just turn it off.
I just want to hear the volume. Is it a sit only one? I just want to make. Test, test. Ah, there it is. No rush. I'm just letting you know there is coffee and water and all that you may want. We'll be starting in about 15 minutes, so just settle in. You'll see there's some art cards on the table and cookies, and we'll be with you in about 15 minutes. We want to give people extra time to arrive because of the weather. Thank you. All right, find your seats if you may. You'll have time afterwards to talk amongst yourselves. This is just, yeah, it's hardest, of course, to wrangle the family to. And we need one more chair over there. Here we go. So I'm Lisa Hartley. I have collaborated and supported the family in bringing together this event today. I think you are all in the right place. I was going to tell you about the cookies, but I don't think we need an explanation there. They seem to be disappearing quickly. Good, good. And I want to say there was a lot of snow and a lot of excitement this morning, and what an amazing community. When I was talking with the family, Colby said, we'll get some friends and they'll go pick up the people that can't get here. And we reached out to someone else and we're suddenly live streaming this to the people that couldn't make it. But I see full seats, so just wonderful that you're here. This is not really our beginning. This is me just saying turn off your cell phones and settle in, okay? As we begin, and as is appropriate, we'd like to start with a gesture of respect, peace, and friendship by acknowledging that we are on the unceded, unsurrendered, and ancestral homelands of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh. So welcome to you all. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to this time, to this place, and to this day. I invite you to take a breath, a deep breath. Heck, take another one. Let go of this busy morning of your day and come, be here together with all these people that mean so much to you. Now, I think we know that Randy would have only wanted really fun and positive vibes today. However, I'm going to say to you all, feel what you feel. You can cry, you can laugh. I want you to be present to your own grief, your own story. I want you to be present to the love, the laughter, and all the memories that we're going to share today as we say goodbye to Randy Peter Keith. He was a father, he was a son, he was a dad, and he was a friend to all of you who are here. Randy will be missed, and we are here to tell his stories. Randy took his birthday week off from work, planning on just chilling at home. However, he got sick. After a few days of this unknown illness, his health declined rapidly, and despite the incredible loving care of Colby and Randy's insistence that he would live to be 220 years, Randy died in his own home on December 22nd, 2023. Family has learned later that his death was caused by a bacterial pneumonia, and there were heart complications due to the lifestyle that he'd lived. Now, a big part of Randy's life was taking care of his parents. His mom, Donelda Keith, who was also known, and to many of you as Donnie, she died on February 8th. She was never aware of her son Randy's death because of the state that she was in. She was only confused that he was no longer coming to visit her. Donnie was 90 years of age, and no matter how we all come to understand the mystery of life and of death, we do trust that in some way they are together now. We face one of life's most difficult moments. In our time together, we must say goodbye to someone who touched many lives, clearly, in small ways and in large ways. Someone we cared for, and someone who was not perfect, but he was perfectly imperfect. He's your friend, Randy. And it's good to be together today. More than anything else, we need one another right now. Each of us grieves in our own way. And when we grieve together, the healing can begin. Just by being here, each one of us gives comfort to everyone else. If only for a few hours, we're joined together in a compassionate family. Remember, too, today in many ways is not really just for Randy or for Donnie, but we all must grieve and mourn when someone so close, someone like Randy, who was wanting to be 220, when they leave us, it hurts. So our event today is really for us. It's our words, our stories, and our memories, and they begin to reweave our lives without Randy's presence. So again, I'd invite you to let your tears fall and laugh too, please. Both are part of knowing and of loving Randy Keith. So I invite you, Randy's family, Leslie, Amber, and Colby, if you'd please come forward and help with the candle lighting. So we're going to light candles, and you can see one's on the table, and I am hoping there are lighters. Anyone have? As I said, this is a community event, and you are free to move around in any way possible. So we light these candles to acknowledge the community that gathers here today, the warmth of friendship, of compassion, of connection to one another, and of the world that surrounds us. The family you will see is lighting 2 candles up at the front, and one is for Donnie and one is for Randy. Please go ahead and light the ones on your table, and do not push them all close together because they will start a fire. At this time, we all seek a meaning in which things are understood, accepted, and truly comprehended. To somehow appreciate the mystery of life and of death. Death has this strange way of sorting out what the essentials of life are for us. And we begin to see clearly through our own tears what really matters in our lives. And we know deeply that it was family and it was friends that mattered most to Randy. All right. Amber's going to share a poem called In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver.
Okay. This poem is called In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. This is actually the same poem I wrote in Sharpie on...
I'm going to read that, and you've
Thank
got to
you.
lean in.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the same poem that I wrote on his wood casket when we sent him off by cremation. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go.
You can wait. So working with the Keith family, it was abundantly clear that Randy had a tender and a warm heart. He would take the shirt off his back to help someone else. He was a talented artist. And you will notice that there's an art gallery set at the front there, and there's art cards on the table. Randy loved animals, yet we know that his biggest passion was for his family, and he was devoted to Leslie and Amber and Colby. While Leslie and Randy separated because of his drinking, they always remained friends and continued to be a wonderful family. Amber and Colby share the task of telling the story of Randy's life.
Our dad, Randy, was born into his body on December 10th, 1964, an era known for rock and roll, good times, and rebellion. He was certainly a child of his times. Randy grew up tucked between the North Shore Mountains and the towering cedar trees of Lynn Valley in North Vancouver. As a kid, our dad would recklessly roam the outdoors alongside his brother, Brad, getting into as much trouble as needed in search of a fun time. His sense of adventure and his intelligent mind had him graduate high school early in order to pursue what he really loved. As a child and a teenager, our dad developed a keen sense for art and sketching, a trait that runs in the family and would continue to. You can take a look at the art gallery to have a look. He was known for his fantastical drawings of his wild dreamscapes, realistic portraits, and a cheeky, playful style that represented the complexity within him. He had the opportunity to go to art school but declined. His true passion and most authentic calling were not his great skill in art, but to have a family. At age 19, he met our mother, and after finally getting her to date him, he would ask her every other week to marry him until she finally said yes. They met at a bowling alley, another of Dad's lifelong interests, but Mom will tell more of that later. 6 years after meeting, our parents married on March 10th, 1990, and 5 months later, I was born. a planned pregnancy. Thus, early on, my dad's purpose was beginning to unfold. 4 years later, in 1994, Colby came into the world, and our small family of 4 was complete. As a child, our household often looked like this: music playing, dancing, playing games or making storybooks, him painting our faces or watching him play video games. Every summer, we would quickly escape to a place just south of the border called Birch Bay, where we would spend endless days walking the beach and following the far-out tides until we finally reached what seemed like the end of the world. It's likely we've collectively spent days searching for shells, watching the dogs chase seagulls, and watched the sun reflect on the pools of sandy water. There was no place he'd rather be than the beach, and though in those days I greatly feared it, I believe this is why I am now a child of the ocean. It's funny to look back on the days when I'd leap up from the shallow depths after seeing a fish, and I'd cling to his legs like a baby koala bear as he patiently walked me back to shore. Patience is one of the qualities that defined him. Never quick to anger, and though the world was not an easy place for him, his gentleness, kindness, and love were ever present. He filled our lives with joyful, music-filled road trips, a love and exploration of all things, strange, fantastical, and occult, and a laugh and ever-present smile. He tried to convince us kids to love bowling as much as him with mixed results. But that passion took him each year to his only consistent travel destination, to the land of sun and insanity that is Las Vegas, a place as complicated and fun-loving as my dad. As life continued and we all grew up and out, after 20 years of marriage, he and my mom separated. However, by the grace of them both, we remained a strong family. His love of consistency allowed his connections and work and bowling to grow deeper, and in some ways allowed him to come into a greater, more expansive version of himself as a friend, a father, a mentor, a neighbor, a bowling, chess partner, and a yard dad. He worked at Standard Building Supplies for 27 years and lived on Eltham Street since we moved there as a family in 2004. Nothing mattered more than the people in his life and his ability to enjoy and ponder about all the possibility the world held. However, he was always content with simplicity. My dad's character was obvious to all who knew him. but few know the richness of the person me and Colby knew my dad to be. I grew up with the soundscape of his music, his laughter, and more memories of dancing and playing than I can count. No one is perfect, and I won't claim him to be either, but I had the fortune of being raised by a father. I can do it.
I know you can.
The fortune of being raised by a father with an open heart, open mind, and the desire for me to become all that I could hope or dream to become. I grew up surrounded by his curiosity, his intelligence, and his playfulness in all aspects of life. We would look at globes and grimoires and a Bible together with both interest and equanimity. And though my dad firmly believed in few things, I was given an outlook of possibility and wonder that fed my capacity to grow into the person I am now. Though he lived a simple life, he was a lover of life, of travel and exploration, of both physical and mental landscapes. He was always so proud of me for living out the dreams he was not able to actualize. And I am lucky to be the embodiment of all his dreaming and the deepest, most beautiful parts of his soul. His being speaks and lives through me and Colby, and through us, he can become more, and through all of us, he can become more. Generous, patient, loving, kind, playful, intelligent, thoughtful, reliable, cheeky, daring. These are just some of the words that describe him, but words fall so short. So please, when you think of him, make sure you feel too, and let your life and your soul take on a greater expansiveness due to the role he played in his life. This is his gift to you, and your final gift to him. And I have one last quote about grief. The grief expressed out loud for someone we have lost in itself is the greatest praise we could ever give them. Grief is praise because it is the natural way that love honors what it misses. And we will grieve and we will love a lot for him. So thank you. I'll pass it to Colby.
I'm not going to introduce you, buddy.
Randy Keith was a loving father, friend, and had a heart bigger than most. He was kind, intelligent, talented, and hardworking. What he wanted to be. He knew how to have fun, and nobody could get in his way of that. He was unrelenting in his positivity, and so that is what I think me, my sister, and mother wish to use today to celebrate with you all. Apologies ahead of time. Things get a bit emotional. They already have. They did with her. That's where it started. I'm not a great public speaker, and I'm worse at expressing myself in person. But I'm luckily, when it comes to words, I have a little practice, so we're going to try. My father was not just a dad, but a roommate and a friend. He always did his best to help me and others feel fulfilled and contented, even if the task seemed impossible at times, because that is all he ever wanted for others. He never judged people without a reason and had the capacity for forgiveness that most folks couldn't possibly imagine. He was a rock to anyone who needed it and showed his love through action rather than words. If you needed him, regardless of how big or small the task, he might whine about it to me in private, but he would be there, big dumb smile and all. Because of this sense of comfort and joy he gifted to others around him, he cultivated a great deal of love and respect from all, which shone through in his last days, when he finally needed our help for once. To that I say I am eternally grateful, and I know he felt your love as well. Randy Peter Keith was a talented and creative artist, a deeply loving caretaker, a teacher of positivity and understanding, and I know Amber and I wouldn't be half the people we are today without his energy being present in every aspect of our lives. From the innocence he brought In our childhood, to the excitement for life we will carry with us for the rest of our days in his memory. At his heart, Randy was just a big kid. We all knew that. It was clear as day in his actions, on his face, and in his heart. He never felt his age, for better or worse. And be it introducing me to comics as a small kid, or me, Amber, and the neighbor kids watching him play Zelda and igniting a love for fiction in me, or how he always said he never wanted a cat or a bunny or whatever we ended up getting, and then suddenly he was all about it and just immediately in love, every single time. Buying them special treats and cuddling with them and watching Hallmark movies in front of the fire on his days off. His heart was for everyone, and it was seemingly never too much for him. That is something I hope to take with me as well, and I know Amber and my mother feel similarly. Randy was something different to many people. To Amber and I, he was a loving and complicated father. To my mother, a lifelong companion who would always give her the support she needed in her times of need. To his friends in his bowling league, he was the life of the party and a lovable goofball, and to his coworkers, he was a hard worker, a jokester, a mentor, and to many, the yard dad. So many different roles for just one person, but it is often hard to see what someone means to others until it's too late, and I feel many in this room understand that feeling now more than ever. I think I can speak for all of us in saying that all of our hearts feel a little less full without him here with us. And the overflowing support from friends and family has been tremendously heartwarming to see. And so I thank each of you for your kind words, the help you've provided, and simply for being here today with us to share in his memory. My dad loved music and always had something playing in the background, from classic rock to simplicity and comfort he found in country in his later days. He would sing along to his favorite songs despite being completely tone deaf, but it never got annoying hearing him belt out the sappy country tunes because it just meant he was happy and was, what more could anyone really ask than to just feel good, right? Seems pretty simple. But just because a thing is simple doesn't mean it's any less tremendous or important. My dad passed away on December 22nd, just 3 days before Christmas. With everything happening and how quickly his health declined, all he could muster to say is how frustrated he was that he couldn't finish his Christmas shopping. That's right, the man was visibly withering away day by day, and he just was mad he couldn't get us everything he truly believed we deserved for Christmas. I am confident in saying I did my best to take care of him in his final days, and I know he knew and felt my love every moment. But mostly I knew he was proud of me. Randy died at age 58, just 12 days after his birthday, to bacterial pneumonia and heart disease brought on from his pursuit of joy and good times, for better or worse. Since I was little, he told me and everyone he could have would live to the ripe old age of 220. Obviously that is ridiculous, but he truly believed as long as he had joy in his life, he could outlive anything. He never wavered on that number, and it hurts me to know how disappointed he'd have been with himself for such a low number. But we take comfort in knowing he would have been miserable being stuck in a hospital during his last days. So passing a home surrounded by memories in the perfect way for him to go. I must admit, growing up, I was resentful of him for not pursuing art as a career. He had the talent, he loved to do it, and he was wonderful in terms of his imagination. So hearing that he chose a family over a career in art just never made any sense to me, especially so young. And I would tell him that a lot. He'd simply shrug it off and say he was happy with the life he lived, but I couldn't let it go. But then one day it clicked. I had a bit of an epiphany. I approached him and I spoke plainly to him. I told him I finally understood. All his life, everyone had told him how talented he was and how he could pursue art completely and surely with great success. But no one ever asked if that's what he actually wanted. I told him I understood art wasn't his passion. Art was his hobby, a hobby he loved, but it was a hobby. His passion was us, his family. Since he was young, all he wanted was a family to love and be loved by unconditionally. I was right, and I was happy to say I was right, because despite everything that may have happened, good or bad in his life, he lived his dream. He was never lacking in friends. He had a family that loved him unimaginable amounts. Kids he got to watch grow up into individuals of their own. An artist and dork of a son who he could always be a friend to. And a world-traveling daughter whom he always admired for chasing that sense of exploration and adventure he admired so purely. Dad lived his dream. I know I've been rambling for way too long. I know you all know me for that. So we'll bring this speech to an end with some last words I would like to instill upon everyone here that I know he would support completely. Be kind. Give yourself to others completely and let your heart show. There isn't enough good in the world these days, and now it has one less wellspring of positivity, so I feel as if it is now on all of us to fill that well. Tell those you love just how much they mean to you. It is the most important thing in the world. Thank you for coming, and I love you all, and I hope you enjoy your time here today.
Both of you guys. But it's not fair that I have to stay.
Now comes an even more difficult task. Leslie is going to step up and speak for her former husband and always friend. I can read it, sweetie.
I started crying immediately, so don't worry about that.
Old people. It happens. These guys, they said it all. And that's why mine's going to be pretty short, because I knew that they had me covered, and they're much better at this than I am. I just want to say thank you all for celebrating Randy's life with us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Leslie Keith, the dreaded ex. And though I'm not sure, I am sure it's not typical for the ex-wife to speak. Many of you who know us know we're not the typical exes. Randy has been a part of my life for almost 40 years. I was 21 and he was 19. And of course, we met at a bowling alley. And that he was working at, and the first words he said to me, truth, as he leaned over the counter while handing me my bowling shoes, was, "I heard you were giving out kisses. I'll take 2." And I thought, what a jerk. Who knew I'd eventually marry that smart-ass jerk? But I did. And never regretted, ever, marrying him. Life wasn't always perfect for us, but we made some pretty amazing memories together, starting as bowling partners, friends, and then getting married, having 2 amazing, amazing children. And though we eventually separated, that never stopped us from loving each other and remaining friends, always there for each other, sharing all special occasions, supporting each other through the good and the bad. Randy was my best friend. And though I miss him so much, I see the best of him in both Amber and Cole. All of his smartness, his humor, his talent, his kindness, his uniqueness will live on in them. He was taken far too early, but he'll never be forgotten. Even if it annoys the heck out of people, we will continue to talk and reminisce about him for the rest of our lives. On February 8th, his mom, Donnie, passed as well, which is very hard on all of us, and especially George and Brad, the other son, and the rest of the family. Lose two within a couple of months. Amazing people. She was an amazing lady, and when I met her, she treated me like the daughter she never had. And I will deeply miss her so much as well, but I know that she's there with Randy. Sometimes he might not like that, but he has her there with him. And I think she went because he needed the company. Even though I know he's looking down on us today with this weather and that he started off so awful. He brought out the sunshine so that we could all be here together to honor him. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you so much. Told you it was going to be short but sweet. And it was fun.
Before we bring up the family friends, I just do want to note that Randy's dad, George, is with us, Donnie's husband, George, and also his brother, Randy's brother, Brad, with his wife, Brendan, and son, Brandon, correct? Brian. Oh, there's a lot of B's in that family. And they've come from Calgary. And George also, I spoke to him before the ceremony, and he had some wonderful stories about Randy, which I'm not going to share, but but I do want to say that in George's word, Randy was a great kid and a troublemaker, just like his father. And mostly that George misses him so much, and Donnie too. All right, so we have neighborhood friends Darcy and Jamie who want to come forward and offer their thoughts. Darcy, please. You got this. There you go.
Yeah, like everybody else said, this is very difficult. We would like to introduce ourselves. We are Darcy and Jamie, and we are Randy's neighbors. Randy and Leslie, Amber and Colby moved onto our street in 2004. There was never that odd time when someone new rolls into your neighborhood. Immediately, they were like family. And it didn't take long till we were over there helping them renovate their home. Randy approached several of us neighbors, John, Cecile, Jamie, and I, and asked us if we wanted to join his bowling league. What is this bowling league you speak about? He said, well, you bowl every Sunday and you get to go to Vegas. Okay, we're in. That was 19 years ago, and we've bowled with Randy every year since. He is a great bowler and a very good teacher. He promised me every year he would give me tips on how to improve my game once he made it into A Division. But we were his competition, so he never shared the secrets. I did hear him giving them to others, but the last couple of years after Leslie retired from her position in the league, we took it over. Randy, Jamie, and I. Randy had a knowledge of the game that I couldn't even begin to figure out. He was always the silent leader. He always went along with anything with a positive attitude and encouraging me with everything that I came up with. "You can do this. I have faith in you." He was never judgmental and always kind to everyone. He saw the best in people, and there was no convincing him otherwise. We would debate on some things, of course, but it was always calm and patient debating. I would just tell him several times, over and over, and he would give in, and that was our debate. Then there's Vegas. I believe this was Randy's favorite place to be. The moment the trip was booked, he would be on the countdown. Every year was the same, meeting in the early hours of the morning, all excited, ready to head to the airport. This was not so early for Randy, as he got up that time every day to go to work. But for the rest of us, it seemed like the middle of the night. Finally leaving for the sunshine and the warmth, and the fact that shoes are optional in Vegas,
So is sleeping.
according to Randy. At the airport, into the lounge, and time to start our vacation. Although rumor has it that Randy and Kevin may have started their vacation the night before.
2 nights.
We all have so many stories to tell about Randy, but as the saying goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and I will leave Randy's stories there. Things that we see daily that we do not realize the impact it will have on our life until it is gone. We will miss Randy driving by every day, his wave, his smile. That is our normal. That on a summer day, pulling in the driveway from work, Randy would be outside chatting to the neighbors with that big, and I'm gonna, hello. I can hear how he says it now and could obviously never repeat it. Our Sunday drives to bowling, where Randy would share his knowledge of some random facts, and him calling me the best damn Uber that he ever had. The teasing also on a Sunday, where he would ask me if we would be touring Surrey. I maybe made the mistake once or twice, the wrong exit, but it was our joke. Our late night stops at 7-Eleven. Bowling will never be the same without Randy, or Kevin and Randy doing their Celebrate Boom. Our trip will never be the same without our friend. And our lives will never be the same. To lose someone who is a part of our lives that you never truly realize how important they are until they're gone. It is a piece of our puzzle that we need to adjust to, and not be mad that the piece is missing, but be grateful at one time our life did have the complete set. We will miss Randy more than he would ever know. Our condolences to Leslie, Amber, Colby, his father George, brother, family, his friends, co-workers. Amber and Colby, you're far too young to lose a parent. Leslie, your best friend. I want all three of you to know Randy spoke so proudly of you constantly. You are well loved. Thank you.
I keep hearing of the stories not being spoken, so I'm just going to trust you all to tell them amongst yourselves, not from here. And with that said, I'd like to invite Kevin to come up next and share what he can share.
Hey guys, my name's Kevin. I've known Randy for about 7-8 years. Got to know him really good the past 5 years. And actually, I got to know him really good when I actually joined the bowling league. And actually, the first year I joined bowling, I was actually Leslie's partner, not Randy's partner. Yeah, and he was Anyways, no, that was a good first year. Second year was better because I was hanging out with Randy. Oh yeah, and the first year, going to Vegas, what a hoot! Like, when I actually was hanging out with Randy, I was like, who is this guy? He's actually pretty chill, like down to earth, and like anyone else, got lots of stories. Gonna keep the stories short, and sure, those rumors, yeah, that was all true. Yeah, no, the next morning it was pretty rough. But no, the more I got to know Randy, hung out with him, great guy, and when I was going through a tough time, Randy had my back. He was always there for me. He's like, hey, Kev, got you. And, sorry, it was the Thai spicy food. One thing I will say, and a lot of people are going to say the exact same thing. Once you made a friend with Randy, you made a friend for life. And no matter what, he's got your back. You need anything, he's there for you. He was always there for me, always supported me. He got me the job at Standard. Like, actually, he called me 3 days in a row saying, Kevin, apply Standard, apply Standard. Come on, we're hiring. I'm like, all right. So I applied, saw Mike and Garrett, talked with them. So I was like, I'm gonna start working here. And so I had to call up my other boss to put in my 2 weeks. And the boss like, yeah, we only got one job lined up in the next 2 weeks. Just start working there. Told Randy, he's like, fucking A. And so started January 6th. And 2 quick stories. One time at work, a lot of work people know this, a lot of people don't. Anyways, I was there for about 6 months, kind of feeling cocky, like, oh yeah, no, I can do whatever. Pick up 3 lifts of 20-footers, or, yeah, you guys know the story. Anyways, yeah, so I was driving the big bow machine, and yeah, I got that on 2 wheels, and all 3 lifts, crash. And, and then Randy saw it, and being the best friend that I've had, rolls up, opens up its window, points and laughs, and drives away. That was fantastic. Like, I would not expect anything less from him. And all the times where I would go over to his place, and Colby's vouch for this, playing chess till 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. He's like, oh, the sun's coming up. And he's like, yeah, whatever, have another beer. Okay. And listening to the music on the back porch, and driving down to Vegas, like to the airport, Bailey's and coffee, fantastic. And, he's, give me a few seconds. Okay. He was one of those people that I could call my best friend. And forever. Anyways, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. It's not an easy thing to do. Garrett, are you here, and would you be willing to come forward? All right.
All right. Colby? Thank you, buddy. I did actually script it, Colby, so don't be too worried. Leslie, Amber, Colby, Thank you for asking me to speak here in front of everybody. I made a lot of jokes before this about people crying up there, namely Kevin, that you would lose your spot in the Afterlife bowling team if you cried. So when I break down and cry, I fully expect to lose my spot. Not because of the crying, but because I also suck at bowling. Being asked to speak up here, I did what I always did. I figured I'd come up here and wing it. And then you reached out and emailed me, Lisa, and I started thinking about it again, and I started thinking about how you'd feel, Amber, and Colby gave me a couple little nudges, and it got me thinking of, why I'm up here. What did Randy and I really bond over? We've worked together a long time. I've been at Standard a good 15 years, Randy, as we know, 27. It's not an easy feat to work at Standard for 27 years, especially when Lance is your boss for the first 20. Lance was supposed to be here to hear that, so. Those of you that know him, you'll laugh. Those of you that don't, you're lucky. All right, so thinking that we bonded at work, that'd be the obvious thing, right? What I remember most about Randy at work was these vacations that he would book. Not that he would put in the hard work and then enjoy these vacations, but like clockwork, Tuesday, 5:30 a.m., he would come walking through the door. And Mike and I would look at him and go, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, geez, am I supposed to be on vacation again?" "Well, I'm here anyway, may as well get to work." And he would get to work and work through his vacation like clockwork, except for Vegas. He never forgot a Vegas vacation. And somebody said it earlier, I think you're right. I think that is when he was at his happiest, when he was down in Vegas. In his adult life, anyway. So that got me thinking, well, maybe it's not work. Like, that's really not enough. And I thought, a couple years ago, I moved to Maple Ridge, and that's when we started really getting close, right? He would come over, help me with some dump runs. We'd sit in the backyard, do our best King of the Hill impersonation, sipping on our beers. Yep. I never got that watching that show as a young teenager when it came out. All of a sudden, when I was in my late 30s, it hit me. I get it. All right, I get it. Then I thought, no, I never even stepped foot in Randy's house until after he had passed. It's got to be something else, right? And then it hit me. It was having a family. Randy and I got close after I started my family. And there were a lot of days that we'd be busy at work, and I would go looking for people to stay late, help us build orders, do whatever needed to be done. And Randy, every single time, "I got you, I'll stay, go home, be with your kids. They need you more than this place does right now." Randy was a lot of things to a lot of people. He was a friend, he was a coworker, he was a son, a brother, an uncle. But what he did better than anything else was being a loving father. Except for bowler. Those two may be they may be pretty even. He was a pretty spectacular bowler from what I hear. Randy always wanted the best for people. Everyone he encountered in life. And that showed through. Just in how genuine he was, how affectionate he was to everybody, his loving smile. There are so many things that will not be forgotten. From that infectious smile to his, "Yeah, I'm out of here" wave, or his Her Majesty wave. We can all remember little quirky, specific key traits that we'll take with us for a long time. Randy, I know you're up there just going, really just everything got to be so mushy? Yeah, it really does, buddy, because we missed you and we loved you. And we still love you, and we always love you. Amber, Colby, I'm so sorry for your loss. It sucks losing a parent so early. Randy, to get away from mushy, I'll leave you with the 3 words that I think sum you up the best in life. Beer, boobs, and bowling. Rest well, my friend.
Thank you, Garrett. That was wonderful. And I do like that just kind words of go home and be with your family. There's nothing greater you could offer to a father. And now we have, the rest of us have time to share your words and your thoughts. Of course, clearly we don't have time for everyone to speak here. And so if you do come up, just stick to one story or thought or something pithy, whatever it may be. And if you don't want to or don't get a moment to speak, you will see they're called memory cards, and if you want to just put your condolences down to the family, if you have just a few words that describe Randy, if you have a memory, whatever it is, while people are speaking, go ahead and put them down, and the family will have these for later. And another community effort, pens. I have one here, and I would invite you to share your pens there. It doesn't have to be fancy what you do, just thoughts, condolences, a cartoon, a drawing, whatever it is, and leave them on the table when you go. You'll also note there's some art cards on the table for you to take home, just in memory of Randy. Put that somewhere in your home and think about him. There's two sides to it, and clearly it's one of his drawings, and I think you'll have seen that the family put his art up on the wall, so take a moment to look at that. All right, so as we start with this sort of community reflection is what I would call it. When you come up, I would like you to offer your name to everyone, because not everyone will know you, and what your relationship to Randy is, okay? Is Figo here? Were you? Figo, okay, how do you say it?
It's Mike, actually.
Come on up. All right. Yeah.
Great.
There you go.
So, like Garrett's, mine is completely unscripted because I wasn't actually planning on saying anything today. Known Randy for probably about 26, 27 years. I've never met a guy like a Randy. His heart, his unconditional giving to everybody around him was, I don't know, there's not even a word I can say to express it, guys. I think there's everybody in this room has had Randy help them with a tile job, mudding some drywall, doing some breaks. You know, if all of you guys sit there and think about it, all the things that Randy would just go out of his way to help anyone, right? The one thing Randy didn't actually ask for was help back. That's the one thing I always found about Randy. From the days of when he was a driver, I was a driver for a different company. I'd show up, and it was always kind of a mystery treat for me to look in the back of his cube van, because Randy had this notorious habit of going to, I think yard sales, I think would be the word, right? And he just kind of show up, and it's like, it was always curious. You know, Randy, what are you picking up? Okay, well, there's a TV in the back. There's a couple other miscellaneous things, you know, probably a bowling ball, right? You know, it was just kind of his sort of thing that he just did, right? But like I said, guys, you know, even up to his passing here, you know, he came, he helped me out, you know, moving some appliances, furniture out of my cabin, you know, never asked for anything. And in retrospect, I did help him with an alternator a couple of weeks earlier, so I feel I had a little bit of a trade-off with him. But, you know, like the one thing I'd like everybody to just sit here and think about is all the things he did for all of you, because I know that every one of you probably has that moment or has that thought, you know, where he just stepped up, you know, not asking for anything, not wanting anything, not needing anything, but just wanting to be there to support and to help, you know, be it emotional, be it physical, be it, you know, just some guy to crack a couple nuts or wrenches on a car, right? Heart of gold, never asked for anything. I wish he had asked at the end for a little over help, and that's the only part I have as a regret, is that I didn't go forward to actually check up on him as much as I wanted to, right? But love the guy, always will love the guy, and it's a big hole in everyone's heart, and I'm sure every one of you will miss him going forward, so that's all I got, guys.
Thanks, Mike. And I would say, if there is, you could also put on the card something that Randy did for you. There's a story. It's just the memories are what are going to keep you all connected, and it'll keep you, I keep wanting to say keep him alive, but that is not the way it is, but it will keep his memory and what he's done in this world alive. Okay, I have Donna down. Donna, are you brave and courageous? Would you like to come up, please? Okay. All right. Donna was a dear friend and longtime friend. Okay. Chrissy?
Chrissy couldn't make it because of the weather.
Okay. That said, are there any of you who have something top of mind who would like to come forward and speak? You are very welcome to do so. Thank you. It's a brave soul that does that. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is also Randy. I met him 6 years ago when I started at Standard Building Supplies. Had an immediate impact on me as a person and as a father. I have 2 young kids as well, 1 girl, 1 boy, so just, a lot in common there. We loved country music, and that's, another thing that we bonded on, and beer, of course. He loved the Canucks, right? He loved hockey and loved talking about the Canucks and all that. And, he left a gap in the yard that will never be filled, by anybody. So I'm going to miss him a lot, and I love him. And thanks, everybody, for coming out, and thanks, Colby and Amber. Thank you.
Thank you. This mic doesn't travel around because sometimes that is easier, but if you would like to come forward, please do. There's someone coming from the back. Awesome. Again, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Kyle. I wasn't planning on talking today, but I met Colby when I was 3 years old, and we've loved and hated each other ever since. Randy's family has always been sort of a second family to mine, and just countless sleepovers at their house. And I wanted to tell a quick story about one time when they were nice enough to take me on vacation with them, actually, to Savory Island. And one morning, me and Randy woke up early, and after he kicked my butt at chess a few times in a row, before anybody else was awake, I said, hey, let's switch games, and I started playing a different board game with him called Stratego, which he was less familiar with. And I'll never forget, again, before anyone was awake, sharing the coffee in the morning air, he pointed out a bird to me, and he seemed very invested in this bird and pointed over my shoulder. And then when I turned back, the board had been rotated all the way around, and he didn't know how it happened, so that's a mystery to this day. But I just want to say, Colby, Leslie, Amber, I love you guys, and thank you so much for... Randy will be missed.
Thank you, Kyle. Some tall people here. Can I offer the mic to anyone else? Oh! That I haven't seen. It's a competition.
Well, this is just...
Yeah, there you go.
For those that don't know me, my name is Kayla. I worked with Randy. My condolences to you all so much. I don't know where to start because Randy was... He just was. And Amber, he spoke so highly of you. And I feel like he took me on as like a pseudo daughter type because he just missed you and he was so proud of you. And his proudness, he loved you so much. And Colby, he was so proud of you with your art. And you shared that with him. He was amazing. If I ever needed anything, he was like if I could come here today in a muscle shirt, shorts, and sandals, I would. Like, if I needed something, he would do it. Like, I gave you the pictures, all I had of him fixing my stuff. Like, there's just no words to explain of how warm of a spirit he was. And there's no replacing him, but he will forever warm all of our hearts. And I will miss him every day. And we all share that same warmth. And just don't let it go out. That's...
Thank you. I think someone else was heading up this way. There you are in the blue shirt. There you go. please.
Short legs.
Yeah, she was quicker, was she?
Too fast.
Name and how you knew her.
My name's Harold Beam, and I've only been with Stand Up for almost 3 years, and Randy had an impact on my life in a huge way. And there isn't many guys in this life that I've met that really had that kind of impact. And when I came into Standard, it wasn't a job. I found a family. And Randy let me know that I fit, even though I felt awkward and I felt kind of out of place. He says, I'll show you how to do this stuff. Just watch me. And he taught me. And he taught me well. I think Standard will back me on what I do. And I give the credit to Randy in lots of ways. That man had a heart. He had eyes. He cared. And you know, he loved the company. And that's why he took the time to teach a guy like me, because he wanted the best for me and for the company. He didn't want to see you waste your time, make mistakes, and they happen. Kevin will tell you that, like, you know. And I'm right beside him. But you know, the company just loved us through them, and you know, they never pointed a finger and gave you a heck. They just encouraged us to, you know, it's something that's like water under the bridge. You just got to move on. But Randy was always there, just like the sun's in the sky. You know, if you don't see it, you get past the clouds, it's there. And I tell you, Colby, Amber, you guys, all I can tell you, you all got Randy's heart, you know? And he's going to be in my heart forever. I'm never going to forget him. He's just amazing, and, you know, I'm just glad I work for Standard. It's the best place I've worked in my life, and it's home. It's my family, and that's the way Randy was, you know? 220 years is too short, Randy. I'm going to live forever. Yeah. Bless you guys.
Thank you. I see someone coming forward. Wonderful. Yeah.
Sorry. Can I just say this? Sorry, guys. No. Well, I met Randy was, you know, the funny part was, I get into Standard, Vicky gives me a locker. I put my bag in this nice locker. Colby used to work there, and then Colby left. So I got Colby's locker. Can you figure that out? And I got my bag in there, my keys are in there, my phone's in there, all my stuff's in this locker. I come out after doing my stuff, open up this locker, my stuff's gone. Well, Randy took it home because he thought it was all Colby's stuff. But thank God for Vicky, she drove me home, and Randy was going to come back, and I told Randy, don't worry, you're out in mission. My car's safe, it's locked up in the pound, and Vicky drove me home, and the next day I ever got my stuff back. But
that's okay, he does that at the radio at work too. Okay.
Stand up nice.
Yeah, we need to adjust that, don't we? My name is Jeff. I worked with Randy for about almost 9 years now. I didn't really know him when he was a truck driver, which was the first couple of years. But I really got to know him when he lost his license. I'm not going to get into that. So I got to drive him and Colby home all the time, and I really got to know him. And what a great person he was. And he always talked highly of his family, and we always joked in the car. Him and Colby used to argue once in a while, more than once in a while, but that was part of the trip. But when I really got to know him, I got to really know the kind of solid person that he was, and the kind of dedication that he had to everybody, and work especially. I've seen him get thrown the worst work you could ever imagine, and he does it with a smile. And he never gets angry over the radio, and he was somebody who was just so dedicated, and someone you could really look up to. Work ethic, personal lives, everything. He's going to be sorely missed, and yeah, that's about it.
Is there anyone else who would like to share the story? All right. And again, I don't see many of you writing on the cards, but if you feel inclined to, it is a nice way to let the family know you've been here, and just if you have some thoughts or just some words to describe Randy. Okay? You would like to speak? Wonderful. Okay. Introduce yourself and how you know Randy.
Hi, everyone. I'm the other Darcy, 2.0. I knew Randy for about 20 years, and I met Randy through my wife. And one day we're at their house. We used to go to a lot of get-togethers at their house. Always a good time. And Randy said, "You got to join bowling. It's the best thing you'll ever do. Best you'll ever do." So I joined. And I can be honest with you guys, I hated it. I was the worst bowler, but Randy said, "Well, you come to Vegas, man. You come to Vegas, we'll have a great time." So we went to Vegas, and they said, "Hey, you're rooming with Randy," which was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We're there for 4 nights. After the second night, my wife pulled me out of the room, put Leslie back in the room because I was getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm out in the morning having a coffee in a Danish outside the hotel, and in rolls Randy at 7 o'clock in the morning with a whole crew of people that I'd never even met before. And he'd met these people in the parking lot of the hotel, bringing some beers back, and they invited him to a party in Henderson, Nevada. And so Randy was gone for a day and a half, and he came back, and I was never allowed to room with Randy again. So bowling was his passion. I dreaded bowling. I dreaded because Jamie and Randy were probably the best bowlers I've ever seen, and my scores were usually about the same as, well, not even as good as Leslie's, but I went to Vegas with them. We had a great time, and you know what? We had a lot of good times at their house, a lot of good fun. I'll miss the guy. Loved him. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Darcy. Thank you. It's important. And I just would say, too, I mean, this is only the start of sharing stories and talking to one another. You can send emails, text the family, whatever it is. It's truly important, right? Those memories you hold, they're beautiful and they're wonderful, and they will keep revealing themselves. And the best you can do is share it with one another. So thank you all for sharing. If I don't see anyone else coming forward. All right. Of course, afterwards we will share over food, a little bit of food and coffee, more coffee, and cookies. So as we move through the ceremony, you may have noticed some things around you, and these are kind of the elements that are with us. There's, we could say, earth in the stones. There's water when we leave, and I'll tell you about that, and the water is from Lynn Creek. You'll see that there's fire in the candles, and we'll tell you about the air. We're breathing it, and it'll be there when we close. And the reason they're around us and that we have them here is we kind of draw on them, and we remember that these things are very vital, that they are part of all of us in whatever shape or form. And they are the elements of life, like one another, that we cannot live without. As you have heard, Randy was born on the edges of Lynn Creek, and he returned to Lynn Creek as his parents lived there and as he cared for them. And throughout his years, he would go back to Lynn Creek with Amber and Colby to walk and to play in the woods. He'd shared his love for what he called the magic tree, which I think was sort of twisted and wound together and just more magic than all the others. And these two have shared that he even carved their names into a tree in his wonderful forest there. So that's the reason of the water, because perhaps this is a place where you can remember Randy, and maybe he'll still visit it. And certainly the family will go there to remember him. So with these stones, we're going to show the slideshow in a moment. And you're invited to just take one in your hands, okay? You can hold it tight. You can fill it with your own memories. They can be good memories or bad memories, the thoughts, whatever it is, whatever your feelings are. And if some of you, it moves you, even your prayers, your warmth, your wishes, and things that you might want to let go that weren't perfect between you and Randy. And just as we watch the slideshow, just hold that stone tight. You can just hold it in silence. And if you wish, when you leave, by what we're calling the art gallery, where all the things Randy inspired, at the back there are 2 bowls of water. You can take the stone and you can put it in the water. And as I said, it's from Lynn Creek, and we're going to take all this to Lynn Creek with the sense of kind of letting go of how we knew Randy in the present, and acknowledging what he will be as we move forward in life. Okay? And in doing this, you also kind of let go of the difficulties of your own grief. And you send your just thoughts and caring into the waters that meant so very much to Randy. All right, Amber. So we're going to take a moment now and watch this wonderful slideshow.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice, 'cause I speak of the pompatus of love. People talk about me, baby. Say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Well, don't you worry, baby, don't worry, 'cause I'm right here, right here, right here, right here at home. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I sure don't want to hurt no one. I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I give my loving on the run. You're the cutest thing that I ever did see. I really love your beaches, want to shake your tree. Lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey all the time. Ooh, yeah, baby, I sure show you a good time. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner. Play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I give my loving on the run. I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. You're the cutest thing I ever did see. Really love your peaches, wanna shake your tree. Lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey, lovey-dovey all the time. Come on, baby, now show you a good time.
Okay, this one's for Gabby.
There's no one controlling the lights, so you think you know what I look like. Oh, thank you. Teamwork. You guys are good. That's flick up. Yep, that's it. You got it. Thank you. And thank you all for your stories and your shares and for being here today. And thank you, Israeli. And when you're welcome to join everyone, as I said earlier, at a reception. There's some lovely food and coffee and tea. Remembering you can take the art cards on the table home with you. And the stones, if you're holding one, there are 2 bowls of water at the front, or you can leave them on the table and I'll put them there. And those stones will be taken, if you put them into the water, they'll be taken to Lynn Creek at some point later and released. And the memory cards, if you wish, leave them on the table. As we close, we remember the elements of life. We remember the fires that we lit and the candles for Randy and for Donnie. We remember the earth and the stones that we hold in our hands and that we will take to the creek to be cleansed in the waters of Lynn Creek. And now as we leave, I'd invite you to gently blow out the candles and all that has been said, that has been felt, and that we've experienced together today will be carried off on the winds to Randy and to his mom, Donnie. And in turn, as you leave today, remember to keep his memory alive. I want you to talk to one another. Take care of each other. Do something kind for someone else and carry that playful, loving heart of Randy's out into the world that so needs your care. And I invite you all to go in peace for having loved and been loved by Randy Peter Keith. Thank you. Yes, the cookies were made by Stephanie. And they were Randy's favorite.